We make content for our business because we're told that we're supposed to. So we might try a trend over here, we might try a little bit of that, we might follow a formula that some guy online told us to follow, and then we do it for a week or two and then drop it. And it gets to a point where we're not even sure if what we're doing is right anymore. Well, worry no longer. I'll go ahead and explain the 4 levels of brand content, and you'll know what level you're at, how to upgrade to the next level, and how to eventually get to level 4, which only 1% of businesses are at. In case you're new here, my name is Aus. I run Hyperfilm, which is a production company that's worked with some of your favorite brands. Without further ado, level 1, random content. Most small brands are stuck here because it doesn't feel like random content. It feels like they actually put thought into their content. It might even be well shot, they might have nice captions, they might use a trending audio, and some of the content might even have some likes. So what is it then that makes it random? It's because often it's freestyled on the spot, and the main reason behind making it is because something needs to be posted that day. So you or your boss are probably like, are we keeping up with our Instagram? We haven't posted on TikTok in 2 days. I saw this one trend we could do. In other words, nothing is quite connected to one another and there's no trajectory. It's just pressure to post at the end of the day. So you might post a random picture of you and your team. You might post a video of your founder explaining something. It might be a random update. None of it is necessarily terrible, but it just feels like it doesn't do much, nor does it really fill a need. It doesn't build a belief. It doesn't solve a customer problem or address an objection. In other words, it really doesn't need to exist. Imagine if you were trying to become fit and to build some muscle, and your objective becomes to go to the gym 3 times a week. I guess it'll do something will happen, but are you training properly? Are you following the right routine? So although consistency is certainly important, it's not the final goal. The way to fix this and to move beyond level 1 is to stop asking what are we posting today and to ask something like, what do we need our audience to understand? What do we need them to do? What do we need them to believe? So before you make a new post saying our new product just dropped, make sure to ask yourself, how can we make our audience care about our new product? Clear so far? Okay, good. Level 2. This is where most brands are at, and this is when brands are finally taking things seriously, and so they start buying better gear. The lighting starts looking better, the visuals overall improve, the product finally looks like how it's supposed to on camera. Now this is definitely an improvement because it looks like you care about your brand and that you are to be taken serious. However, what often happens is that brands start leaning on this far too much, thinking that the visuals alone will carry the entire brand. And frankly, it's one of the biggest traps in marketing. A brand will start making good looking videos and assume that the video is good. But what you'll find is, unfortunately, sometimes the audience doesn't really reward effort. They don't care that the edit took 4 days, they care about how the content made them feel. The only time you should exclusively make high-end looking content is if you're a luxury brand that has the infrastructure to support it. Some brands can get away with making content like this because people already know them and they already have strong associations with their brand. McDonald's, for instance, could post a nice picture of their new meal, tell us this is how much it costs, and it's gonna be good enough. Chanel can make an ad where a lady is walking in slow motion and then whispers the name of the perfume, and it's gonna do well for them. And that's where smaller brands get the idea that they can just do the same thing, because if they're doing it and it's working for them, then we should do the same. No, you are not at that point yet. We are still at the awareness stage. We still need to tell our clients who we are, what we do, and why they should care. So production value is essentially the decoration or the icing on the cake, but we still need to make the cake first, right? Here's how you upgrade from this level. Your content already looks better, well done. However, you still need to communicate clearly your product's value. And these would be things like talking about the materials that you use, or what benefits they can get out of, what transformation their life is going to go through if they get your product or service. All right, let's get into the higher levels. Level 3. This is when brands finally realize, hold on a second, this isn't about me or my brand or product, it's about the customer. So they start making content that teaches and explains things to people. Now this is a major upgrade because useful content can build trust, and you start appearing like someone that genuinely cares about what you're doing rather than someone that's just in it for the cash, especially if you sell something that's a little bit expensive. That's not exactly an impulse purchase, so it's gonna take some time to gain someone's trust before they finally take the plunge. Useful content, by the way, isn't always someone speaking directly to the camera like I am now. Another example I can give you is someone doing a tutorial where their product is included in the tutorial, and if someone really wants to follow as close as possible, then guess what? They'll have no choice but to get the product. Now, an extremely vital note, just helpful or useful content on its own is not good enough. If someone can Google it or ChatGPT it and get the answer quicker, then that means that your script is nowhere near ready yet. It needs to feel different and unique to your brand. Now, on the flip side, you also don't just want to be a free information page. Your content should show your thinking, your brand's expertise. Essentially, it should show results that are very difficult to get unless they get your product or service. Now, let's get into how only 1% of brands make content. Level 4 is when brands start building a content machine, a content system. Often when founders and marketers hear the word system, they just assume I'm just talking about a calendar. But the system needs to encompass the entire customer's journey. So not only do they become a customer, but by the end they're recruited as a brand ambassador. Sounds good and all. What does that look like? Firstly, production-wise, you need to systemize it. You need to have a shooting day or two where certain content is planned and can be batch shot in one go. And the type of footage that is shot can be repurposed for several videos in different formats, so you don't just come out with 1 or 2 videos. Secondly, you need to consider the following types of content, and this is the part that makes it feel like a journey. Demand content. So this is the type of content that essentially tells your customer why your product or service even exists. In other words, make them care about the problem. Trust content. This is the type of content that shows that you actually know what you're doing. So you might show a case study, you might show a transformation of someone before they used your product or service and then after they used it, and essentially that you are in fact the real deal. Explanation content. Over time, people might have seen your content a few times here and there, but here is where you really need to clarify what your exact offer is and how you can exactly help them, what your brand is about. Hero content. Typically, this is referring to some sort of big budget ad that you made for your brand, and it often lives on the front page of your website. That's where you lead people once they show some interest. Engaging content. This is the type of content where you essentially start telling your audience, hey, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you would like to see next. Essentially, it's content that makes them feel involved and valued as customers. Informative content. Just like we discussed in the previous level, essentially it's content that's useful, helpful, teaches them something. And finally, entertainment content. This is the type of content that doesn't take itself too serious. It's something that you know your audience might be able to relate to, that they can have a chuckle at. And last but certainly not least, make sure that you watch what your audience is actually responding well to and double down on it. Maybe even make a full series out of it. By the end of your audience seeing all these different types of styles of content, you'll find that they're not just customers, they've become a community of people that sings your praises to their friends. It's about the big picture, the big strategy, rather than individual pieces of content. So, what level are you stuck at? And has this video been helpful to help you move beyond? Let me know by dropping a comment and liking the video. Also, do you remember how I mentioned that luxury brands are uniquely positioned when it comes to content? In fact, they're totally uniquely positioned when it comes to marketing altogether. I break down for you exactly what makes an ad feel luxury in the video that you're seeing on your screen right now. See you there.